Hello everyone, welcome back to Aluminum Tarot. Thanks so much for joining us today. We'll be reading the air signs for the next 3 readings. We're going to start off with Libra for this one, and then move on to Aquarius and Gemini for the remainder. If you like these readings, please be sure to like, share, subscribe, and ding the notification bell so that you don't miss any of the superseding updates. Okay, I've been getting absolutely wrecked by a lot of these things happening with the Mercury retrograde. I'm not sure exactly when it's over, but it's been getting my dates all screwed up. I've been saying the wrong dates for a lot of the solar and lunar eclipses, so I'll make note of that so that way I can, correct that until this Mercury retrograde's over with. That said, we're going to go ahead and move on. We're doing love readings for these for April 2024. I guess you can take it for about a 4 to 6 week period in general. But please also be aware of scammers. If anyone's out there posing as another tarot reader, please be sure to double check and do your due diligence so that you don't get scammed. Anyways, moving right on, enough said, we're going to go ahead and get into the reading for Libra, Sun, Moon, and Rising for April 2024. Ready, set, let us begin. It's coming up for Libra, Sun, Moon, and Ascendant for April 2024. It's coming up for Libra in love for April 2024. One more shuffle. Okay. So, let's begin. Shared energy. Libra's thoughts. Libra's person's thoughts. Libra's feelings. Libra's person's feelings. And Libra's outward actions. Libra's person's outward actions. All right. Overall outcome for Libra's love situation. And let's clarify. Okay, so 2 Kipper and we'll get started. Okay, good lady. Nope. Not this go around. And bereavement. Third card wants to come out, which is high honors in reverse. So that said, we're looking at a particular situation here where first we'll start off with the Kipper. So we have good lady in the reverse and bereavement next to that, and then high honors in reverse. So maybe you've been dealing with a feminine energy or a woman who is quite an unscrupulous person. This person may have been going through a bereavement where they have lost someone. Either they have had a breakup, they have had a divorce, or they have actually seen someone die in their family. And what this is indicating, because you do see everyone surrounded, all of the family members surrounding this person. Because this person is grieving someone, they are basically acting in a manner which says, well, I don't really care anymore about holding on to the good and the positive in my life. I'm just going to go for broke and do whatever it is that I want. So as a person who probably sleeps around to numb the pain, it's probably a person who's very codependent, probably a person who is likely to lie, cheat, or steal in order to get what they want out of a relationship, and then they move on to the next person. So again, a very unscrupulous person. This is also indicative of the ending, which we'll get into, which is the Eight of Pentacles and the Seven of Swords, which indicates a person who puts a lot of work and effort into actually screwing people over, and it's not necessarily the best way to spend their energy, but it's what they do in general. That said, we're going to go first into the shared energies, and the shared energies here are the Ace of Pentacles and the Six of Cups. I'm going to see exactly why it's the Six of Cups. Why Six of Cups? Okay, so what are both of the people in this relationship, because this is the mutual energy of this relationship, is they realize that they're not willing to offer anything of any substantial value to the other person. So I'm going to assume that whoever is the bad lady in all of this is the one that's refusing to offer anything, or maybe the other person, because they realize they're dealing with a bad lady, is not offering anything. And I get also energy of here where a person is kind of becoming very sentimental about the relationship, but they know that they can't really approach and offer anything substantially to the other person. And this is the only way that they can get out of their head of overthinking and overanalyzing what has taken place. So what we know about the situation, I guess, on your end, which is the Libra side here, take it as it resonates if you resonate with one column or the other more. But we'll firstly show that in the thoughts, we have the Magician reverse. And this indicates a person has lost their confidence in this whole entire relationship. And we'll ask why, so that we find out a little bit more why the Magician reversed. Asking me to clarify even more. Yeah. So, on your side, Libra, we are getting a person that is just kind of fed up and they're not really sure if this relationship is worth investing in anymore. It seems that maybe you have been put on hold and that you're realizing that, so you're basically holding back your energy. I see a lot of holding back energy in your thoughts, because you do have the Four of Pentacles, and then you also have the Seven of Pentacles, which is 4 plus 7 is 11. That's the Two of Pentacles. You're really weighing the options, or you're weighing the scenario in this entire ordeal. You're not really sure if this relationship is worth it, what the positive or the benefit, positives or the benefits are of this, or the negatives. You may think that the negatives outweigh the positives much more. And that additionally, because we do have the Ace of Pentacles reversed, I see it as a person who just doesn't really think that this is worth giving to on a long-term scale. So maybe on the short term, you may have had a bit more fire and a little bit more water in this, potentially even more air, but that's not entirely present here. Otherwise, we would have the Magician maybe in the upright, which would indicate that presence of those other elements there. But we have it in the reverse, so it's like there's nothing really materializing from that relationship. And because you know that, it's not really something that you want to invest in so much. Maybe initially it was something that you thought was more long-term, but then you quickly realized that over time, because nothing was happening with it, you just decided to break free from it and to hold back. And on the other person's side, they're trying to mirror that energy by putting the Strength as their thoughts card as well. But we're going to ask a little bit why this person is holding back, because they may be doing it for reasons different than yours. So why is this person holding back? Okay. Tell me a little bit more about that Seven of Cups. Yeah. So Your person is not really a person who favors long-term stability. And I got the Four of Wands in the reverse. So there's a very unstable thinking, a very unstable person in their thought processes. They may jump from thought to thought. They may even probably have a little bit of ADHD, indicated by the Seven of Cups here. A lot of confusion and potentially a lot of options that they're exploring at the moment anyway. And I think that the abundance of options is number one, maybe because, yes, they could be attractive, but more so I think it's because they just never know what they want. They've never cultivated a sense of self. And in that Cups energy, that seven being a spiritual number, but also a number of confusion, it can indicate a person who has simply not materialized their strong sense of self when they are confronted with people externally. So they allow those externalities to define who they are. And so if a person they're attracted to has a lot of money, then they can enjoy and embrace that money. If a person is very caring and nurturing, then they can be caring and nurturing person to that person. And there's oftentimes in the dating scene, you find that a lot of people, or especially people with options, they like different people for different reasons. And so that's what I'm getting from this energy here. You have two major arcana on this side. You have the Strength and the Hermit. So despite having all of these options, I think this person really is maybe making the attempt now to find out what it is that they really want, because the Hermit is someone who does go inward. Since this is not in the reverse, I would say that they actually are trying to make an effort to do that. And they're maybe holding back from all the options, particularly now that they have probably been at a period of exploring them. But they are now trying to step back and see whether or not those options are viable, and if it has actually led them to any specific happiness that they want to manifest in their life. So we'll look at it. It's very interesting, actually, because the Strength card is then followed by the Hermit, and these cards came out separately. So you have a 7, 8, and 9. So this is a process. This is an entire process that's been going on for this person. 2 major events, and then a plethora of minor arcana ones. So I see this person as they had their options, and then they had to hold back from them, and then they had to go inward. So I would almost put this in a procession. This has never happened in any of the readings I've had before. You have that 7, 8, 9 here indicated in this entire spread for their thought processes. It's quite astounding how the cards come out and the way that they actually manifest and materialize, because you do have another procession here. You have the 7 and the 8 here, the 7 of Swords and the 8 of Pentacles. So we're going to move into the next part, which is the feelings for both of you. On the Libra side, we have the 2 of Wands reversed. And we'll actually clarify a few of that, so that way we can find out exactly why that is taking place. 2 of Wands reversed. Why is 2 of Wands reversed? And they give us 2 cards. Brilliant. Okay, so I'm going to clarify the death while we're at it too. Clarify death. Clarify death. All right, so looking into your feelings as the Libra Sun, Moon, and Rising, we're looking at a person here who has decided to stop making plans to meet up, stop making plans to hang out, stop making plans for the future. And maybe in the past you were a bit more future orientated about the way that you approach this relationship, but now what I see you doing is taking a step back, because you have the Page of Swords in the reverse. This can indicate one of 2 things. Firstly, you either communicated to this person harshly that you wanted nothing to do with them and told them basically to piss off. And then the Wheel of Fortune means that the whole relationship is stuck. That's how you feel about it. It could also indicate, just severing of communications altogether. The Page of Swords in the reverse is basically severing ties and then just kind of taking a step back from something. In other cases, it can indicate that someone is spying on another person. Either way, when I get the Wheel of Fortune and the Page of Swords reverse, what it indicates to me is a person who has decided, I'm not going to involve myself in this. I'm going to gather some information, and based off of what's been told to me, I'm choosing to end this. And I'm choosing to throw a spanner in this entire relationship. So yeah, that's what I get from that side. On the other person's side, you have the Death, the Moon, and then you have the Nine of Pentacles reverse. When this relationship came to an end, there was a strong sense of dread on the other person's side, the person that you're dealing with. And the reason why is because you have the Death and then the Moon. Those are your fears and insecurities that usually crop up after that. And then with the Nine of Pentacles reverse, this is a person who may have felt that they could have had something to gain from the relationship, and realizing that that is no longer available to them, they then were struck with a bit of panic. Now, altogether, what I would say with this is, sometimes people, when they enter a relationship, they do things for attention. And specifically speaking, when you're dealing with someone who wants attention from the relationship, it's much, much more difficult for them to be self-sufficient. They're looking to find reasons to latch on to someone and then to siphon off certain resources. So that's attention, that could be time spent with each other, that could be finances, and then that could also be sex or anything of that nature. Now, I'm getting the expression, I just lost my meal ticket for some reason. I don't know why. But particularly if this person's finances are not in order, then perhaps the person thinks that losing out on this is going to make them lose out on their meal ticket or their ability to be in a relationship which gives them some kind of groundedness or stability. Maybe the reason why the person looks at all of these different options available to them is because they're trying to find a way that they can gain or benefit the most from all of the different choices they have. So if one person provides more stability, they'll latch on to that person. But if the other person is more loving and accepting, then they can get more emotional support and stability. And by that time, you just have an absolute shit show of a polyamorous relationship. Dynamic, as they would say in the dating scene, spinning plates. But each plate has a different meal on the top of it, and for some reason, this person's never satiated from anything that they consume. That's what I'm getting from that. But we're going to move on to the outward actions, because I see some very interesting dynamics taking place here. Clarify the Four of Cups. And clarify the High Priestess. Okay. Clarify once more. Clarify the Four of Cups once more. Clarify the High Priestess. So we have two aces. Very interesting that two aces decide to come out. And they're pretty much diametrically opposed. It's not like air and fire. It's not like earth and water. This is air and water. On your side, you're not having it. You're absolutely not having it. I see a person who is basically done with the situation. Even if something were to be offered to them, they would turn it down. They're firm and adamant about not accepting this person back into their life because they've given up control. When you have the Emperor reverse, yes, this can be a control freak, but also it can say, I'm no longer going to be in control into this. It's kind of like a let go and let God kind of scenario. And that also may have been due to the fact that there is clarity on the situation. And with this Ace of Swords here, it could also indicate that maybe you decided to cut this person out, because the Ace of Swords is the sword that's used to sever ties with something that no longer serves them. And this comes especially after a moment of clarity, which then enlightens the person to take action. So these are the outward actions that you're taking. This is basically a rejection, a flat out rejection of the other person. And on your person's side, basically what they have is a lot of kind of sitting back and nurturing energy. So maybe it's kind of like, oh, I knew I kind of screwed that up. And because you have the High Priestess, the Queen of Pentacles. Queen of Pentacles basically nurtures things. But what I see in here, unlike the Ace of Swords, which is used to sever, this person has the Ace of Cups. And so they're sitting back in their own emotions and they're thinking about the times that two of you have spent together, and particularly trying to understand what they should have learned from this, from this liaison between the two of you. And that Ace of Cups, I mean, unless they're just kicking back and chilling and just trying to forget about you, I see this more as a person who is having their emotional center activated, their heart center. For some reason, I get this image in my mind of a person whose heart center has been activated by the loss of this relationship. And if you have been dealing with a twin flame person where there has been an intense connection with them and that you feel that the two of you are fated, but then shortly after meeting, you then separated and then went your separate ways. There's a lot of information on the internet about that and how those kind of dynamics operate. Furthermore, you want to make sure that if this person was, this is what Baba Julie often tells her audiences, is that if a person has been abusive, then you may have been dealing with a false flame, or a karmic, which would then just be there to kind of teach you a lesson about something within yourself and to shed light on your own specific dealings with people. So, or maybe even your own inner nature, things that you've had to heal as kind of either ancestral wounds or dealing with a kind of karmic pattern that's emerged within your life. So that said, we look at the outcome, we see definitely so. I get two kind of scenarios here. We have the 7 moving to the 8, the 8 of Swords moving to the 8, the 7 of Swords moving to the 8 of Pentacles. I see a person who is kind of working or throwing themselves into work so that they can avoid or evade the loss of this relationship. And in turn, that is where they're going to find their stability. I also see, I almost get like there's two different people here. I see one person going back to their devious ways and another person just focusing on themselves. That's another way to interpret that. But then also I get a person here working on their ways that they self-sabotage and deceive themselves or other people. Because when you have these 7 of Swords and the 8 of Pentacles, maybe it's like, it's time to work on this repeat pattern that I'm dealing with. I mean, I'm getting the feeling that you may have activated, again, the heart chakra in this person Libra is dealing with. And that on the Libra side, maybe they can work on the things that they do to sabotage themselves in relationships, which is overgiving, or perhaps not seeing red flags, or perhaps, expecting people to behave a certain way when you know that they're going to behave a completely opposite way. Kind of like this, I think it's the old Aesop's fable story I like to talk about, the tortoise and the scorpion, if I'm not mistaken, where, the scorpion asks for a ride across the river and the turtle's like, but you're a scorpion. And scorpion's like, oh, it's okay, don't worry about it, So then the turtle lets the scorpion hop on his back. And then as they're midway into the river, then the scorpion just reaches out, stings the turtle to death. And as the two of them are flailing about, the turtle asks, like, why did you do that? We're both going to die here. It's like, oh, I'm sorry. I'm still a scorpion. I'm going to do what I'm going to do. And this is the kind of the lesson that people have to kind of learn when it comes to dating and relationships. Maybe something that I'll espouse a bit more on the YouTube channel. You have to see things for what they really are. And oftentimes when we're in relationships, we tend to idealize the person beyond recognition. We put on those rose-tinted glasses and then we decide to envelop ourselves in this person's, false loves or even the fantasies of being with that person. And when that expectation doesn't match with reality, then that leads to huge amounts of disappointment. This is often indicated in people. If you look in your birth chart, they may have a strong square or opposition, Neptune and Venus. I know that I have that in my particular chart, where I think it's a Neptune square Venus. And this can create some headaches for me as I deal with relationships, maybe earlier on, but getting around on that these days is something I have to kind of own up to in my own, specific life. And it's not just relationships, it's the way we relate to everyone. We tend to idealize the people, or we tend to have expectations of the people that are a bit lofty and idealistic. And then when those people don't match those expectations, we then say, okay, well, I was stupid, I deceived, or maybe I can work harder and change them into something that I need them to be. When in fact, it's just not going to happen. You never change the person, you change yourself in a way that makes you more independent and self-reliant. You never want to try to change yourself to fit someone else. Focus on you, just like this Eight of Pentacles here. And don't allow yourself to get deceived in the pursuit of love and happiness. And I think you'll be just fine. Well, any advice have we got? Let's get 2 cards of advice and then we'll wrap it up here. Okay, so we have the Sun and we have the Queen of Wands. So they're both in the reverse. Now, as advice cards, the way I would read this is that, first with the Sun, it's important for you to shed light on the things that when things are not clear to you in a relationship, it's important for you to just see things as they are. When I look at that baby on this particular, on this particular card, the baby is innocent. It's very youthful. It doesn't really see things in terms of the way adults would see them. And it just sees things as the way they are. And that Sun helps to illuminate those things as well. This can be a card of vitality, but it can also be a card of just illuminating things and seeing them for the way they are. I don't know why I'm just getting that, but that's what's coming to my mind. And for you specifically, if you've been in relationships repeatedly where you've had this kind of false hope with the ones that you were, dating or hooking up with or marrying or whatnot, then it's an ancestral pattern that you have to kind of sort out in this lifetime before you can level up. We want to get you to the World card, so that way you can become a complete person, completely whole within themselves. Because what I see here with the Sun reverse and the Queen of Wands reverse, this is a complete lack of confidence. Being unsure, being questioning yourself, having these kind of doubts and beliefs and things of that nature which hold you back. Because what I see, with that Magician reversed here, when we looked at that, it kind of has similar qualities as some of the other cards, the Strength, the Seven of Swords, and things of that nature. It's kind of like we need to be with people who are sure and confident in who they are. Never a person who goes around and tries to fill that hole with other people. Because when we allow other people to become the center and the foundation for who we want to become, this is where people get led down the false road of hope. And relationships, when they become codependent in any way, shape, and form, that is a form of self-sabotage, because you are literally handing the keys to your life over to someone else. Now, it's not to say that we need to be fiercely independent, but we do need the balance, which is essential for maintaining that relationship. And what do I see at the bottom of the deck is the Temperance card, which indicates that equal give and take. It's like the Justice card, but on a much more, I would say, less like karma and more like an experimentation. It's a bit more free-flowing when it comes to the Temperance card, where you have this alchemic process between two people in a relationship, giving their time, giving their energy, their happiness, their hobbies, and all the things that they are to the relationship to blend and merge together to create one kind of spiritual union. Well, when that's not present and one person is taking more, I always talk about this in the relationship reads and even in the business reads. When one person is taking more than the other, then it is time to step back and reevaluate what it is that you're gaining from this relationship. If you're with a person who takes more than they give, or who expects things and demands things from you, who is a bit controlling, you are not receiving anything from that relationship, and it is only fear that binds the two of you together. That is devil energy in card number, I think it's 15, if I'm not mistaken. And in that devil energy, basically, you're loosely bound to an energy, which is defeating to you, but additionally, it changes who you are. So when you're in these types of really toxic relationships, instead of trying to change the other person, what the devil energy does is it changes you. It changes you into something that you're not. And additionally, it changes you into something of a much more inferior quality than what you were when you stepped into the process. Only when you break free from that devil energy, that's when you're able to release yourself from that black box of Saturn, which is the box of limitations, fears, and restrictions. And you learn the lesson. So in essence, the devil card actually does reward you for the hard work of breaking free from it. And because Saturn normally comes in a time when you have to learn a lesson, and then once you learn the lesson, you're rewarded with more freedom, independence, and potentially other kinds of rewards as well. That's it. I'm done for today. Thank you so much, Libra, for joining. This has been your relationship reading for August 2024. You can take this reading for about the next 4 weeks. If you like what you see here, please be sure to like, share, and subscribe. Ding the notification bell, comment below, and let me know how things are going in your love life. As we approach, we have already passed the mark for spring. We're moving into summer over the next few months. And we'll be into May flowers. We've already had the April showers here like crazy here in the United Kingdom, and we're going to hopefully see some of those May flowers. But if you also, the other thing, if you've got Taurus in your chart, happy Taurus season for you. I've got Taurus in my sun, and enjoy it, Moo Crew. We love you, and take care. Love and light.